What's up, everyone? Welcome back to King Anime Review, and for this video, I'll be reviewing episode 246 of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, titled A Heavy Loss. So this episode started off with Boruto, Team 7, Team Kagura, and Team 5 running at Fumaushi. They were all super mad and they were running at Fumaushi, trying to attack him. Fumaushi did his water style imminent danger jutsu. And then he just basically went around all of them, and then he said he was going to kill them. And then Boruto got super mad. He unleashed his Karma Seal, and he went at Fumaushi, tried to attack Fumaushi again. And then he ended up beating Fumaushi with the Rasengan, and it sent Fumaushi flying into a wall. And then Fumaushi, the other Fumito clan members, basically, while Fumaushi said, no, I got to avenge Lady Siren, he was still trying to fight them. He was still trying to fight Team Kagura. He said, I got to avenge Lady Siren. And they said, basically, the rest of the Fumito came and they got him. And they said, we got to retreat because, you know, Fumaushi, he couldn't even get back up to his feet, even though he was still trying to avenge Siren. An interesting thing about that, when Boruto used the Karma Seal, so he used the Karma Seal, and then Fumaushi, and then he went at Fumaushi. They kind of showed, like, they didn't really show any taijutsu, or they didn't really show much fighting at all. And they kind of like show like the sky, and then they show Boruto, you know, they like had some sounds of fighting, and then they show Boruto using the Rasengan. So I think this episode was outsourced. I could be wrong, but I think this episode was outsourced. I don't think it was done by Studio Period, because the art was off in this episode, and I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But yeah, overall, and then that stuff was yeah, that fighting that stuff was cool for the most part. And then we had basically everybody's reactions to Kagura's death. Kagura, he made a couple of requests. Well, first off, Hebi Ichigo tried to seal his wound, or she basically stitched his wound together. We know she's good at sewing and stuff, but she basically closed his wound, stitched his wound together. And then Sarada and Awabe actually tried to use medical ninjutsu to save Kagura, but it was too late. He was still losing blood, so he was already still dying. You know, we already seen Awabe and Sarada training to use medical ninjutsu in the previous episodes of the Boruto anime, so it's cool to see them using that medical ninjutsu again. It shows that they actually mastered it from, you know, we already seen them a while ago use it back, like, I believe it was right before the car actuation arc that they actually started training with it. So it's cool to see that they finally mastered it. Kagura, he had his final words. He basically asked everybody to protect the village for him, and he asked, you know, Kyoho to protect and watch over Buntan and Hebi Ichigo. He gave Hebi Ichigo the petition that he made, that he, you know, basically a petition that he had for them, that I guess it was for Chojuro, basically a petition to get them basically pardoned, and basically explaining that they came back and they helped him and they put their lives on the line for the Hidden Mist village and for the village that they're fighting in right now. And then Hebi Ichigo was like, yeah, I can understand this for Buntan and Kyoho. Like, she was basically saying those two deserve it, but not me. And then she brought up the fact that she tried to kill Kagura and escape. And then Kagura said, but you didn't. Like, he was basically saying, you didn't kill me, though. And you came back and you helped us, didn't you? And then everybody got emotional. Everybody was crying, all of Kagura's friends. And while they were crying, during the crying scene, it was some weird looking artwork. Like I said, I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But I think that's not, I think that's pretty much, as far as what I was saying, that's the only part of the episode that, or for the most part, it was really just that part of the episode that had some weird look art when the characters were crying about Kagura's death. The rest of the episode pretty much had pretty good looking artwork throughout the rest of the episode, including the stuff that happened before, you know, everybody started crying about Kagura, while Kagura was dying. The stuff that happened before that, you know, the little bit of fighting we got it has some pretty great artwork in there as well. So I just wanted to point that out. But then we had a brief little scene of Chojuro talking to one of his assistants or bodyguards or whatever. And the information about, you know, the plan of the Funita, how they were trying to go attack the Hidden Mist village from land, and they were just using those boats as a distraction. You know, they were just, the Funita clan, they were just, you know, staying, you know, facing off against the Hidden Mist village on water. That was meant to be a distraction, so that the Funita on the land, it was supposed to be led by Siren, but she ended up getting injured. But it was led by Fumuushi. His unit was supposed to attack the Hidden Mist Village. So Chojuro figured out that plan. I guess the plan was revealed to him. I think maybe Kagura sent a message to him or something like that, and the plan was revealed to him. But he decided to just stay where he was. And he was wondering if they thought he didn't know what was going on with that plan and stuff. And then Isshiki was talking to Tenma about, well, basically Tenma was being too hasty, and he was basically trying to, like, he was trying to go attack Chojuro right now. They also got some information about Isshiki and Tenma also got some information from Fumuushi, from Fumuushi's unit about Siren being injured, and they were really mad about that. And Tenma, he wanted his father. He wanted to go and attack and basically take out, he wanted to go and take out Chojuro. Isshiki kept on telling him that he was being too hasty and stuff like that, and that he was gonna have to. Isshiki was basically saying they're gonna have to put together a new plan, since it seems like their first plan failed based on the fact that Siren got injured. And then Tenma, he didn't really like that idea, and we got a little flashback of him in the past and how he didn't have any parents or whatever, and how nobody cared about him. But when he tried to, like, basically when he seen, Aroman, I forgot the guy's name. But anyways, the leader of the Funita clan, the dad, he tried to attack the dad, and then the dad basically told Tenma that he likes him and he's gonna make him his son. So then he started training with Isshiki and stuff. Isshiki beat him in one of their little sparring matches during the flashback, and then he was, his father complimented him and basically saying good job or whatever. And then when Tenma beat Isshiki, the father just basically told Isshiki, hey, what are you doing? And he didn't actually compliment Tenma. And obviously he's showing favoritism because Isshiki is his real son, his biological son, and Tenma is pretty much like his adopted son. So it seems like he was showing some favoritism there. And Tenma, he still wants to be acknowledged by his father. It seems like he never got that acknowledgement from his father. So yeah, that's why he wants. That's one of the reasons why he wanted to take out Chojuro, to prove to his father how strong he is. So after that, we got a scene where basically, they were at Kagura's grave, and they were thinking about Kagura and stuff and crying. And Boruto basically said he's never going to forgive the Funita. Then basically, Kawaki and Boruto were thinking that they were suggesting that they should go and take out Fumuushi right now, because they was trying to go take out Fumuushi right now, but Sarada basically said they need a plan first. And then everybody decided and agreed that Sarada should be their captain, and she should take Kagura's place. And then we got a scene where Boruto was explaining to Team 7 about his karma seal. So I really like that scene. Well, first he was thinking about Kagura and stuff like that, and he was thinking about Kagura and stuff. And then, Team 7 came, Sarada, the rest of Team 7, Sarada, Misaki, and Kawaki. They came and they started talking to Boruto about the karma seal, because they realized they used the karma seal in battle. At first, it seemed like he was a little bit surprised that he was a little bit surprised, like he probably didn't even realize he was using the karma seal. Then I think he probably just didn't even realize it. He just got so angry that he unleashed all of his power without realizing it. And they were asking him, they was questioning him about, like, hey, didn't you tell us that that medicine that Amato gave you was suppressing the karma seal or whatever? And Boruto said, and then they were wondering if it was like, they were wondering, like, if that's the case, then why do he use the karma seal? And yeah, Boruto basically reassured them that the drugs still work. It definitely work. It definitely works. And Momoshiki, it's not possible for Momoshiki to take control over him. And Kawaki asked, can Boruto use the karma seal without any risk? And he basically said that he can. He said the drugs definitely were effective, but he also said that he could still use. He said as proof of the drugs being effective, he was conscious of his actions, but he said he could still use the power of karma, and he can still use the power that the karma gave him and stuff like that. And even though the drugs stopped the extraction. So he was basically saying that, but he said he don't have any intentions on relying on Momoshiki's power, on the Otsutsuki power. So that's pretty much what he was saying right there. So he basically confirmed that he can still use the Karma Seal, but he doesn't want to rely on the Karma Seal. He doesn't want to rely on the power of the Otsutsuki. And this is pretty much exactly what one of those Boruto writers said on Twitter, and which I talked about in my last review video. I mean, the review video before, I think it was the episode 245 review. So yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same thing that Boruto writer said on Twitter, that Boruto can still use the Karma Seal, but he just doesn't want to use it. He's hesitant about it because he doesn't want to rely on the power of the Otsutsuki. And Sarda was even basically implying that same thing, like that Boruto should be hesitant because she was like, are you sure that that's safe to use that power, basically? But Boruto basically reassured everybody that, yeah, he can still use the power. He just doesn't want to, pretty much. And yeah, and then the episode ended off with Isshiki going to attack Chojuro, and he ended up getting beat by Chojuro, and Chojuro ended up killing him, and Tenma was really mad, and then the Hidden Mist Village started to attack the Funato clan, and the Funato clan decided to retreat. And Isshiki, he seemed really angry about Tenma's death. Tenma just wanted to prove to his father that he was strong, but he ended up failing. He wasn't strong enough to take out Chojuro. He uses crab, that crab summoning that he uses, and he uses some water. He used some water style jutsu, and Chojuro beat this guy with just a regular sword. This is the same guy. Tenma is the same guy who was beating up Kagura, who had one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, as well as Kawaki. He was taking on Kawaki and Kagura at the same time. Yet Chojuro with a regular sword was beating him. This is kind of off in terms of power skill, and Kawaki should be way stronger than Chojuro, but I digress on that. Well, technically it wasn't just Chojuro. It was a whole group of people fighting, and a lot of this battle took place off screen. We only seen a little bit of it, but it was Chojuro as well as a whole bunch of Mist Shinobi fighting against a whole bunch of Funato clan members that was led by Tenma. But yeah, they ended up winning. The Hidden Mist Village ended up winning and killing Tenma and the rest of those Funato who came on their ship to attack them. And that's where the episode ended off. Overall, in terms of story, this episode was a 10 out of 10 in terms of story. Very well written. I like everything about the episode in terms of writing. Kagura's death, I'm okay with it. As I explained in my Boruto episode 245 review, I'm okay with Kagura's death. I already explained why in that review video. I like that they finally gave an explanation as to why Boruto's not using the Karma Seal, and they fully explained it in the anime. I like that they did that. I like seeing Boruto rage with the Karma Seal and stuff like that. The backstory that we got for Tenma was great, and how that explained his motives currently, that was great. And Kagura's death and his final words and all of that stuff was great. In terms of story, like I said, 10 out of 10. In terms of animation, I'm gonna give it a. In terms of animation, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I didn't notice any problems with the animation. In fact, it was actually some good animation, like towards the beginning of the episode when Boruto and others were fighting. When they were fighting Fumaushi, even though it did cut to the sky for a little while and didn't show a little bit of taijutsu. So yeah, animation was 10 out of 10. And the story was 10 out of 10 for this episode. In terms of artwork, keep in mind, art is different from animation. Some people, I got to clarify that for some people, because some people, I guess they don't understand that. But anyways, yeah, 10 out of 10 in terms of animation, 10 out of 10 in terms of story. But in terms of artwork, there was some weird looking art in this episode. The only part of this episode that I noticed some weird looking art was when Kagura was giving his final words and he was dying. And then right after he died, and then everybody was crying and stuff, their faces looked weird. It looked like this episode was outsourced to some other studio besides Studio Period or something. I could be wrong about that. But anyways, the artwork looked very weird. Like, we've had this problem in the Boruto anime before where the characters look a lot younger than they're supposed to look. Their eyes and stuff is drawn a lot tinier, and they got the baby face looks and stuff like that. I don't like that. Anytime that happens in a Boruto anime, it really annoys me. Thankfully, that hasn't happened in a very long time. I don't think that happened throughout the entirety of the Kawaki arc in the Boruto anime, but unfortunately, that problem has came back in this episode. So for that, I'm gonna take off 2 points for the art. So I'm gonna give the art an 8 out of 10 for the artwork. Now, the reason I took off 2 points, and here I'm gonna clarify this as well, just for my for future references. Because in some of my other reviews, I've probably been a little bit inconsistent in terms of like artwork and how many points I take off. I probably took off a lot more in certain other episodes. But from now on, if I notice like an artwork error, like for example, if a character don't have, like for example, if Sarda doesn't have her Uchiha crest on her back, if I notice like an artwork error in a brief scene, I'm probably only going to take off like 0.5 of a point. If I notice a decent amount of artwork errors throughout the episode, like for example, Boruto is drawn without his whiskers and Sarda is drawn without her Uchiha crest in a couple of scenes. Like for example, if I notice multiple little errors with the artwork, then I'll take off a full point. Now, if I notice weird looking faces and the art style, like the faces of the characters look off and they look, not how they're supposed to look, then I'm going to take off 2 points. If that's only for a brief couple of scenes if that's only for a brief couple of seconds or for like one scene in the episode or something like that. But if that's throughout the entirety of the episode where the characters' faces don't look how they should look throughout the entirety of the episode, I'm going to take off 3 points. And if it's just for like a part of the episode, like a couple of minutes or like maybe half of the episode, I'll take off 3 points if it's just for a couple of minutes or something like that. If it's for like an entire episode, I'll take off 4 points. So yeah, that's how I'll do that in terms of artwork. Now anyway, so 8 out of 10 in terms of artwork, 10 out of 10 in terms of animation, 10 out of 10 in terms of story. Overall, I'm going to give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. This was another pretty great episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. And it was very good. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, please drop a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and clicking that channel notification bell to be notified on all of my future videos. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Also, comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of the review and of my of the review and of the episode in the comment section below. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.